What's going on, everybody? This your boy King Gabe here, and back with a very special video here. Special and a little unexpected, but you know that stuff kind of happens. Pretty much like life. Things happen that we don't expect, but you know what they say: always expect the unexpected. So the unexpected thing that we got here is doing what's called Yumeko romance history video. Yep, romance that's going on here in the series, and the that's going to be talked about in this video is Hiko and Naomi. This is in response to well, I guess I could say kind of a response, but more like a follow up in a way, to a a short that I had released, Hiko and Naomi romantic fantasies. Um, okay, here's the message. Where I had a video of some Hiko and Naomi's faces on some video clips there. Thanks to a little AI app that I was able to bring back to my phone. I sort of put that together, and one of the comments I got from I hope I'm pronouncing this right. Shamilia Shamin um, had made a comment on it, stating how cute it was there. Um, and reading up on it, I decided I would make a video to elaborate on that more on about Hiko and Naomi. So she's waiting to see it, so we're making it now. Also, before we go into this, just want to let y'all know, definitely like, share, and subscribe to the channel. Also, be sure to buy some of our books as well, and support us on Patreon, just like the Patreon we have, EJ the Supreme. You definitely make sure you do that. And now, on with the video. so, like a certain YouTuber when they say, you can, um, when they say now with the show. So, in response to that, so yeah, definitely it's more like a follow up, but kind of a response in a little bit, because it just kind of reading her commenting to the video just made me think to do this. So here we are. Now we'll state that that there's some of you probably following the channel that have probably seen earlier Yumeko update videos from the first Yumeko book, that probably had information about what I'm about to talk about here. However, it was sort of mixed in with other information. So basically, this video is just going straight to Hiko and Naomi, along with probably some other information that wasn't in that video. Well, as far as the romance and stuff. So, let's talk. Before I go into the story, let's talk about how this idea first got started. The whole thing, when I started off with Hiko Makuro, I actually, let's see, I know in, I mentioned this in the history of Hiko Makuro video. First came up with that character when my sister and I role played Yu-Gi-Oh. Hiko was my character in Yu-Gi-Oh, and as my character Hiko, um, he had a love interest with Taya Gardner, aka Anzu Mizaki. Now, of course, originally it's her and Yugi that are a thing, and I definitely now as for the original series, I'm definitely more Yugi and Taya more so than Yugi and Rebecca. Um, so, but in our role plays, yeah, it was Hiko and uh, Taya, or like I say by her Japanese name, Anzu. So so there was that, and different things with that, and then time went on, and started making other stories and stuff like that, and eventually came to the reality and imagination novel series, which was only two books to that, and then it had a crossover in the Heroes of Dream anniversary special. in that series, I kind of was implying, and really, he didn't go by the name Hiko in that series. He went by Johnson Douglas, which was a character I had made up back way back in elementary, but never really did anything with. So as Johnson Douglas, it was implied that he had sort of a romantic relationship with a girl named Sakura. However, then there was the ideal that maybe there was a different girl um, that was known as the Smiling Rainbow that appeared in the Heroes of Dream anniversary. But like I say, never really. There was only two books of that series and a crossover, so I never really got to go any further into that as far as what was of that. Um, and then plus the way I was writing back then kind of was a bit iffy. Um, yeah, so then we come to where we're at now. Um, they wrote with Brown Chronicles. Wasn't for sure who Hiko's love interest was going to be in Brown Chronicles. There was a lot of ideas bouncing around, and then even when I first came up with the idea to do the Yumeko series, like I think way back in 2000 in 2020, actually 2020, maybe 2021. So probably like 3 years ago when I first came up with the idea to do Yumeko, and of course eventually did the first two comics I did of Yumeko, and now is the novel series. But the first time I came up with the idea of the Yumiko, yeah, that was the thing of who was Hiko's love interest going to be. And like I said, there was several ideas bouncing around. So eventually, um, I thought about the ideal of one of my sister's characters that she had made up in previous role plays, which of course was Naomi Ricci. Naomi Ricci had been used before in um, in Heroes of Dreams as a hero named Night Fox, and which will probably which there'll probably be something like that coming up in Yumiko series, uh, as well as also she had an appearance in Brown Chronicles. The thing was in Heroes of Dreams, didn't it wasn't really much to her character there. It was just pretty much she was just kind of wasn't really much. I'll have to explain a little bit more about that when I do a history of Naomi Ricci. Um, and of course, but in Brown Chronicles, that's where Casey got the ideal to make her autistic. There, much like how my character Hiko with ADHD, she made her autistic. Big difference was when she was first introduced. She was actually younger than Hiko, more so it was more like a brother sister type relation. It was written a little differently, but when I got to getting things together for where I would go in Yumiko, and there was several different ideas I had for that. Especially like I mentioned, the whole thing with who was going to be Hiko's love interest. There was even I even came up with the idea of a girl named Daisy as Hiko's love interest. Then there was even thoughts of Hiko and either Angela or Monet. But of course, Samuel ain't having that there. So, yeah, we know that idea wasn't gonna last too long. Yeah. So then yeah, it came. So then I thought about more about Naomi. You know, because it seemed like that. The whole thing. It seemed like there was just something about that was clicking. Something about it seemed like, yeah, let's see if. So I asked my sister. I said, well, what if you know Naomi and Hiko were around the same age and they had a thing for each other? She thought about it and she was like, yeah, sure, that could be all right there. And so I was like, okay. But then I thought, because at first, before this idea came into play, Naomi was actually, um, she was actually a love interest with Tim at first, Timothy. However, Casey had a solution to that. She said, okay, well, if we're gonna do Hiko x Naomi, that's how we ended up getting Melina. Melina was another character that Casey had come up with for probably some other things that she's probably done, and there was some of she said there was some stories that she had created, or I guess ideals that she had come up with, where it was Tim and Melina. So that's how we get how we got Melina into the Yumeko series. So now on to the relation with Hiko and Naomi. Um, in the first two Yumeko comics, as well as the rough drafts that came after, because I had wrote 10 rough drafts for the Yumeko comic series, and was only able to get two out because, as I've mentioned before, my Photoshop quit on me after the first two Yumeko comics. And I was not able to do any more comics because even though I could draw the pictures, I needed the Photoshop to get them colored, to look to. I mean, I could. I used to color with colored pencils, but yeah, that when you get a taste of that Photoshop was looking a lot better than the colored pencils. Believe me. So, just saying, for especially for trying to do a comic book too, that would have really took a lot of time trying to color every panel by hand as opposed to using the computer, to digitally color it. So, um, so in those 10 rough drafts, and I was gonna I got them right over here next to me, but I'm just gonna briefly tell you about those and then go into how the Hiko Naomi relationship is gonna be for this novel, for the novel series that's officially gonna be pretty much the thing. So during the era of Yumiko as a comic book, um, well, it was implied that Hiko and Naomi, well, actually, Hiko had actually met Naomi before, and even went to church with her, um, and which is why in the first issue, when Hiko and this other character Zayden, when they met Julie and Tim, he looks at Julie thinking that she's Naomi. So pretty much like what's gonna happen. And it's like, well, you'll find out. You'll find out in another video. But he mistakes Julie for Naomi, uh, and then there's a bit of a daydream there. Then when they actually find Naomi in Yumiko, um, she's asleep at Rowdy's house because his parents found her in the park, out of it. Excuse me. So goes where she's asleep at in one of the guest rooms, and there's a Sleeping Beauty fantasy. So you think maybe I should kiss her awake, but then he kind of gets a little nervous about that, and and Naomi wakes up suddenly, having a bit of a meltdown, an autistic meltdown from where am I, and it starts to overstimulate her. Um, Hiko and it calls her to run out of the house. Hiko takes off after her to try to catch up to her, and eventually he does catch up to her when she arrives in the forest, and starts to calm down a bit, but then ends up having to save her from this monster hat that a villain named Benubian sends out, or as my sister calls him, Punimon. Well, we'll say Puny Man in the books because if I say Punimon in there, I'll be sued by Digimon. So, but it is pretty funny though. um, so uh, after saving her, yeah, that's where they start to kind of connect slowly with each other, um, throughout that throughout the different rough drafts. There's a moment where they even play video, where Hiko and Naomi even play video games together. They're up all night doing it, and um, then there's a moment where, a couple of days later they start to bond more. I think they're training to go up against a certain villain, which is Penubian, of course. And Naomi overtrains herself to the point where she faints, and they end up having to take her to the hospital. Hiko actually sits in the room with her, and when she wakes up and sees Hiko, and Hiko's like making sure everything's okay, she breaks down, telling Hiko about you know she feels like she is a breaks that feeling like that she messed up, and really takes it personally because growing up, the way that she is, a lot of people think of her as being really odd and not and pretty much the oddball out, and sort of, and she sort of feels a bit shunned about it, um, and so this is what really makes her and Hiko come a bit closer because he comforts her, um, and and even tells her, I like you just the way you are. And they is a way he tells Naomi, you know, I don't really, even though I don't know much about, about autism or anything like that, you know, I'm ADHD, and I've got people kind of looked at me kind of weird too, and well, so like I say, like we can, so it's sort of like, hey, I kind of feel your pain a little. I kind of feel your pain, and um, I really and because I really want to understand you more. If you're willing to understand me, so I think that's kind of how they say. Yeah, it's a little like I said. I'm trying to say because I don't want to be trying to flip through a whole bunch of pages of it. So I'm saying the best way I can. It sound. I'm pretty sure it was written down a little bit better, but yeah, that's a touching moment there, um, and there's a I think there's a fantasy of them at a restaurant there. Of course, the villain Penubian decides to crash the party. However, they do manage to defeat him together, both Hiko and Naomi. They find a couple of magic items, and yeah, the rough draft of issue number 10. Um, they imagine themselves on a cruise ship, and also there's this thing because Naomi randomly kissed Hiko at some point, smack on his lips. Hiko, first thing one thing he asks her at the end of that book of the story, um, does this mean that we're boyfriend and girlfriend? And Naomi's like, I suppose, but I don't really. But what does it mean to be a boyfriend girlfriend? So yeah, so there. So yeah, that kind of. So that was kind of what would lead to them developing into that officially. So now we got where we are for the official novel. That's going to be, coming out soon. I'm really praying and trusting that I get this novel out and published at least in the springtime. Yeah. I'm really hoping for March. Yeah. I may try to get the proofs in and everything. Within probably like next week or some point next week get my rough draft back so I can get all the proofs in and all the edits and stuff, and then you know I can use next month I can try to get not only get them in but also maybe get like my cover and stuff together and find a publisher and have it out by March. So yeah, so there's gonna be that. So now Hiko and Naomi, what are they gonna be like for what you guys are gonna be seeing come out by that time? Okay. Now, like I said before, I have read across this in one of my earlier videos, but we're just focusing on Hiko and Naomi because there was other information mixed in with that. Um, so Naomi actually arrived in the second chapter of this first book, She's at peace in the Barnhard Forest, just just running around, enjoying the nature and everything, giggling, have got a little music in her mind. She's even imagining herself as Cinderella, dancing with a possible Prince Charming. And suddenly, Shanice, this little witch, WITCH, make sure y'all know, witch that is working for Ramon Laban, comes out and teleports her into the abandoned store where Samuel and Hiko are. Um, when she ends up there, let's see, I'm scrolling down so you can focus on that. She's being chased by a bunch of zombies there when she arrives there. Well, actually, it's one zombie, but and these zombies got teeth for eye sockets, which was from a nightmare I had once. Well, um, she tries to get away from the one that she sees, but then there's a whole army of them, and she becomes really overstimulated by all these, seeing all this and the fear and everything, and the overstimulation just makes her dizzy and blacks out. And so, so much later, um, Hiko and Sam, they're also on the run in the store from these flying cash registers and a bunch of skeletons. They manage to get away from them. Hiko realizes that he has magical powers. They get away from the danger and end up in the back of the store, and that's how. And they end up seeing that Naomi's in trouble. Uh, Turns out when they see where Naomi's at, uh, she's she's in the receiving room, and these zombies have not only captured her, but um, they got her tied to a wooden log in a corner and preparing to cook her. It's sort of like Taya in one of the episodes of Yu-Gi-Oh! Into the Shadow Realm when the Hitakumbi giants were about to eat her until a penguin saved her. So in this case, Hiko and Samuel they quickly discuss a plan, and they're able to get her. They work together to get her out. And once they get her out of danger and defeat the zombies, um, they of course introduce themselves to one another. Um, Matter of fact, before they even introduce themselves to one another, the minute they make okay, we're out of danger, and kind of rest for a moment, Naomi just you know her first reaction, she kisses Hiko on his cheek and smiles. And it's like, yeah, they introduce themselves, and yeah, they just and then there's a warp in the store that separates them there. Um, Hiko manages to when he gets up after they go after the warp separates them, he manages to uh, get up and get back to Naomi. Samuel was of course transported to where Shanice was, her and Ramon Raban. So Hiko manages to find Naomi on the she's on one of the toy aisles, unconscious on the ground, and and sort of like what I mentioned about in my comics, where Naomi was in the bed asleep, sort of like Sleeping Beauty. This is what comes to Hiko's mind. He starts thinking about Naomi as Sleeping Beauty and himself as the prince coming to awaken her with a kiss. Um, she's kind of he's kind of nervous about it at first as he goes to do it, but she wakes up and he sort of jumps back there. So they say like, "Hey, Naomi, are you okay?" And of course she kisses him again. One thing I gotta definitely state here: Naomi, especially in this the novel here, is really affectionate there. And reason why she is this is kind of what I came up with for why she's affectionate as she is. Um, her parents are very affectionate. They are a very affectionate couple, and a lot of times and they like to watch a lot of romance movies and stuff like that. Um, Not all of them, but some of them they allow Naomi to watch with them. Depending on the rating and stuff. But yeah, but they do. But some of them they do allow Naomi to watch with them. And this is one. And obviously, being romance movies, you're gonna see some kissing. So yeah, this is why this is what and then plus, like I say, her parents are a very affectionate couple around each other. So it's a lot. So this is why Naomi is the way she is. Um, Hiko actually asks, out of curiosity, why did she kiss him before and also now? And Naomi says, because I like you. He's Hiko's not really sure what to say at the moment, but he is say it's not saying he doesn't like it though. Oh, trust me, he definitely likes it, but it's kind of like whoa. so so then he's the only thing he thinks to say back is okay, I like you too, and so then they sort of have a moment, kind of just looking at one another with a smile. And then they notice the toys around them and start playing with them. And sort of at that moment, they sort of don't, they're not thinking of the dangers from earlier, which is kind of hints at, Hiko, ADHD, and her being autistic, because that is something that both sides have in common, getting distracted easily there. Eventually, they notice a bunch of action figures from the IT comics, pretty much their version of DC Comics, which stands for Imagine That. And Hiko sees one of the figures. They have the Super Deluxe Electronic Ultra Cat action figure. I sort of the way I said that is sort of similar to an episode of DuckTales 2014 when Launchpad and Drake Mallard were like, "Is that the rare Ultra Battle action Darkwing Duck action figure?" Yep, and that's definitely a sign of the '90s. Cause trust me, them electronic toys in the '90s, them were some. Them electronics were really cool. So it's a So he gets so excited and hyped up. He starts talking about like, wow, this and Naomi says like, wow, that looks cool. It's more than cool. It's the IT comic action figures are the greatest toys of the planet. But then he sort of takes a breath to calm down a moment because he kind of suspects that Naomi might not be interested, in this type of thing. And the reason that is not. I'm not saying that. And it's not saying that girls aren't in that there are no girls in the superheroes or girls can't be in the superheroes. No, it's not that. Especially back in the '90s when I grew up, this there were some girls were into this like they like a lot of them are into it now. Like you got YouTube girls reviewing and reacting to different superhero related stuff. But the thing was in the '90s, whether they were or not, it wasn't heard of a lot. Yeah, you did a lot of you did at least from when I was growing up. I didn't among me and other boys like myself didn't really see a lot of girls into superheroes and stuff. Yeah, so it was like I say, not saying that they weren't, but we just didn't see a lot of them back then. So it's like so he asks Naomi and he's like, "Are you into superheroes?" And Naomi very sweetly says, "I'm not sure, but you may tell me about them." So, of course, he tells her a little bit about the Ultra Cat figure as well as Ultra Cat, a little bit about him and everything. Says how about where he's from and how he always saves the day. And when he gets to that part about saving the day, Naomi says, "Well, he seems similar to you. You really think so?" And Naomi gets a little closer to Hiko, saying, "Mm-hmm, because he saves the day the same way you saved my life." And yep, and there's another little look into the eyes moment there. But of course, they're about they're about to kiss one another again until, of course, they get interrupted by another zombie and end up having to escape the zombie. So that's kind of the. Let's see. I think that's pretty much. Yeah, that's pretty much the. So that's pretty much the romance moment for book number one between Hiko and Naomi. Pretty much just a lot within that within those interactions. Tells pretty much quite a lot of what we would expect coming up in this series between the two. Yeah, what we're gonna expect as their relation starts to build. So yeah, like I say, so yeah, that's pretty much. I think that's pretty much all to say. It's gonna the relationship is gonna progress as time goes on in the series. And actually, and I really like writing this here because it's like especially how their characters interact with each other. Especially in Naomi's case, because it's definitely inspired from Yugi and Taya. If you mixed it with Robin and Starfire from Teen Titans, yeah, because a lot of people really say that Starfire, being the whole she's an alien from another planet, fish out of water. The way that she talks in the Teen Titans series is sort of like similar to that of an autistic person, but really sweet though. Yeah, really, it's really sweet and adorable, and that's kind of what comes to my mind with Naomi, which that's really going to be part of what really drives her and Hiko closer together there. So that's pretty much all I got on that. Pretty much just following up on the Hiko and Naomi short that I made earlier on the channel, and also to my YouTuber. Let me bring up her name so I can pronounce it. To Shamilia Shameen. Again, hope I'm pronouncing that right. Shamilia Shameen. So uh, definitely hope you enjoy this video there of hearing about them. And there's going to be many more. There's going to be a lot more. There's going to be more to come. Updates on, especially with the book I'm working on, with the second novel I'm working on now. The proofreadings that's going to be coming up, as well as other stuff. Yeah, okay. So there's going to be some other stuff coming. And also, this for every also letting you know, and also everybody else watching, definitely check out the Patreon, because I'm by the time you're watching this, I got some videos. I got an update video that's up on the Patreon. I might possibly have the toy review up already. It might be up by the time I get this out there. It might possibly be. Uh, so yeah, definitely check out the Patreon so y'all can get an early and become a pledger. You know, support the channel and get yourselves an early access to those videos. And also early access to some other videos like that that'll be coming soon. So, definitely do that. And definitely like, share, subscribe, buy some books, and tell all your friends and stuff like that. And we will definitely see y'all in the next video. Take care, everybody.